Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Diamond and today we are going to be talking about The Housemaid Is Watching. Now I've read all three books now. I finished all three books and I know I have not talked about The Housemaid Secrets. I will make that my next video, but honestly I just like the fact that you could pick up any one of these books and you necessarily don't have to read The Housemaid to understand what's going on in the rest of the book. So I just want to say that this video is going to have spoilers. I will put that out there right now. I will give a brief overview on how I felt about the book and my ratings, but before I deep dive and start talking about stuff that actually happened in the book and my thoughts, I will let you know. So if you're here to just see if you should read this book, I do recommend, honestly I recommend all three books. They are all really good in their own ways. Let's get into the brief summary of the book. Y'all already know I have my handy dandy notebook so I don't lose track and I stay on point with throughout the video. Now that I've read the back of that book and I've read the book all the way through, I can say when I first seen this book, it did do a good job at continuing on with the Housemaid series. But when I first initially picked this book up, I think I thought it was going to be something totally different than what ends up actually happening in the book. So overall, I would give this book a solid 3 out of 5. I did enjoy it. This author is really good at sucking you in and making you feel like I cannot put this, well at least I felt like I could not put this book down until I finish and see how it's going to play out. What is going to be, it's almost like I am anticipating this buildup of what is going to be the turning point of the book. You just never know where it's going to go, honestly. So I do like that. I feel like that has been an ongoing feeling throughout reading these books, is I'm just expecting for that drop, that turnaround of what is actually going on, that I've been feeling this type of way, but it's actually this type of way. From here on out, we are going to deep dive into the book, and I would say if you have not read this series or this book at all, I do recommend it. Go pick it up right now and let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. And if you have read the book, let's talk about it. I need to talk about it, okay? As I'm reading Millie's POV, I'm starting to understand her emotions and her feelings. And when Enzo starts acting crazy, I don't even feel like that's how you say his name. I want to look it up.
Can a body wash transform your chest, arms?
Buongiorno. We are looking at how to pronounce with the typical Italian pronunciation. How do you go about pronouncing it? In Italy, in Italian, it is Enzo. You do want to...
Enzo. Okay, dang, I don't remember the last thing I said about him. Reading the book and reading how Millie and Enzo stay together and they have a beautiful family, they have 2 kids, that was such a full circle sweet moment. And also reading that Nina Winchester, it's funny how she made her way back around, well not her but her daughter being a lawyer. I think that was oh my gosh, the little what's her name, Cecilia coming in and being a lawyer and trying to help Enzo out. Just what felt like a full circle moment for all the characters. I really did enjoy that part of the book. But it was really sweet to see that Millie and them fell in love, stayed together. They were trying to build their own house. Not build their own house, but they're trying to build their own family. As I'm reading the book, shady stuff starts happening. Millie starts getting this terrible feeling there's something strange about this little cul-de-sac, because we know that there's their house, the house across the street, and then the house that's probably next in between them. And so they're in this little cul-de-sac moment and Millie's all excited. She's like, I have my kids, yes we did move, but this is gonna be amazing. But then Enzo starts acting weird, the way she was describing it. I don't even remember which part of the book it was in, but it was a moment where he said something that sounded hella shady and just not true, and I was like, girl, I don't really trust what he has to say. And literally as I kept reading, she was like, don't trust the man at all. So I'm like, we're me and Millie, we're on the same page here, because how you say, oh, I'm going over to Suzette's house because she just needed to ask me a question at 10 o'clock at night. Suddenly I'm getting home, you're nowhere to be found, but you're over at Suzette's house doing the yard. Yes, I know that she's helping you out with business and everything, but we can clearly see she has an attraction towards you. But I felt no, Enzo wouldn't do that. I felt Millie when she was I trust my husband. But then his behavior just kept getting more and more sketch. He kept he was oh yeah, I'll tell you about Suzette and I'll tell you when I go over there. But then literally the next day or whenever that scene was, the next time, he was over there and he didn't say nothing to her. So I started to like not trust him at either. So when Millie goes over to the next door neighbor's house and she sees Mr. Llewellyn on the ground dead, stab wound and everything, and it did not look good. It did not look good for Enzo at all. But I wanted to trust him that he did not have nothing to do with it, and I wanted to trust that, like, yeah, he really did just coincidentally cut his hand at the same time that she just found the neighbor dead, right? My first prediction was that the son did it. I was like, the son's been acting weird. He's becoming like, he has these, all of a sudden, these anger issues. He doesn't really care about nothing. He doesn't care about getting grounded. He doesn't care about sports. Like, there's something, what's going on? Like, but if you think about it, his behavior is usually what's shown when kids start to, like, you can somewhat tell when a kid is going through something because they start to act out of their behavior. And so she could sense that there was something wrong with her kid. Like, all of a sudden, it went from like really, really sweet Nico to not sweet Nico at all. So to read the fact, and then also, I low key, I figured the book out. And reading her books, I was so surprised that I was able to kind of like pinpoint what was going on here. But when I read the line and Nico was telling his sister, like, yeah, there's this room filled with all these toys, and there's this camera, and he likes to watch me play. And then I remembered, wasn't there a little boy missing? Like, I pieced that together so fast. I usually am not, like, I usually could not predict what was going to happen or, like, how the story was going to unfold. But when I started reading it, it was talking about kids' toys in this creepy room that's hidden. I was like, isn't there a boy missing? Like, it's kind of leaning that way. So to read the book, listen to how the sister was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna show this man. So she protected herself as she should. Millie, when she had like that whole little like high blood pressure, stressing out type thing, like, I was like, oh my God, I was concerned for Millie. Another thing is just like, reading the back of it, you would assume that it would have something to do with her being a housemaid, but Millie is not the one that's the housemaid. She's kind of elevated from that. You know, she went to school, finished her school, got her degree. That's another thing. Like, it was so nice to read that, like, she actually does social work, and that's like, she does the things that she wants, helping people. So you learn that it's not about Millie that's the housemaid, it's the neighbor's housemaid. And the only reason that Enzo was acting weird, oh, that's what I forgot. So when the money went missing, it just was not looking good for him. The money went missing. You're always around Suzette. She starts flashing this bracelet. I'm just like, there's no way. In this new story, Mr. Enzo, Mr. like strong guy, like, he's my hero, goddamn. Like, you know, I will feel protected around him. Never is he messing with the next door neighbor. Never is he messing with Suzette. It just all started to like look that way. Like, it did not look good for him at all. To read the story and then find out that Enzo was just being the nice guy that he was. He didn't want to, I could see how, you know, he wanted to be the caring husband that didn't want to worry his wife, who already got high blood pressure and some medical issues going on right now. So he did what they had been doing, which was saving women from their abusive husbands, which the housemaid had an abusive husband, and Enzo was just doing what they had been doing all along, and he saved her and got her away. So the fact that she then turned around and came back and killed the next door neighbor is crazy. And I almost wanted to say that I wanted Millie to ask the daughter, like, why did you cut his throat like that? Because the daughter said that she literally only stabbed him where her dad told him to be stabbed, for anybody to be stabbed, to, you know, take him out. And that's what she did. The housemaid is the one who came in from the back so the neighbor couldn't see, and then finished the job. Which, I mean, if she wasn't there and she didn't go back, then I don't even want to think what could have possibly happened in that situation. But to read the different POVs from, like, the daughter being like, the neighbor is a creep, something is wrong, and I got rid of him for a reason, to reading the reading the maid's POV, like, I was the one that did it, I came in from the back, took care of the job, and then she don't even know why the wife took the fall for it. She don't even know why. She just know that she also got away with murder as well. Because the wife, now Millie was kind of smart with that when she was saying, dude, would you rather, it sucks and it's bad both ways. But would you rather take the fall for, you know, you learned out what your husband did and then you just couldn't take it no more, and you often, or do you want to be of compliance? Like, do you want the fact that you knew what your husband did and you can play that whole, oh, she just really cared about her image. She really just cared about her image. Because it's like, how could you sit there and know what your husband did, knew that your husband kidnapped that boy, knew that your husband had him in that room, and you just let him get away with it? And then you let another little boy, maybe not as young as a little boy he kidnapped, but you let another little boy, an innocent boy, come into your house knowing what your husband was doing or had done. You only cared about your image. You didn't want to be what the wife. I mean, that is a terrible image to have, but at least you could have been like, I could not take this. You could have came out and be like, I cannot take this no more. Like, this is wrong. This is bad. Ew. But no, you decided to hide it. And the fact that you even, I was with Millie, the fact that she even said that there was a little boy missing, knowing she know what happens to the little boy, is insane, Suzette. So you deserve jail time, as much jail time as you would ever get for that. You know how sometimes you might read a book and you never know what happens to the characters at the end? Just to see her growth from how she was struggling, no job, living out her car, to her whole journey with the Winchesters, meeting Enzo, through her whole journey through the second book, which I will make a video about because that was crazy. And now she's here and she has 2 beautiful children that speak Italian, and she has a beautiful Italian man, and she's just living her best life. And they seem like, oh, but you know what? Let's talk about how in the book, when Enzo and Millie were having that whole not relationship, but they were having that whole, they weren't on the same page when it came to parenting Enzo. Like, when, not Enzo, Nico. Because when Nico had his whole moment where he had punched a kid and he started displaying these anger issues, Enzo and Millie did not know how to properly parent together to punish their kid. And I feel like these are conversations that is very important to have in a relationship, because when you get to moments like these, Enzo is like, well, you know, he did a good job. But it's like, how do you, I still think, okay, because what Nico did when he punched the kid for bullying the little girl, defending the little girl, what he did necessarily was not wrong. But a kid still deserves punishment to know that you cannot just go around throwing your fists everywhere. You know, like, that's not a good way. I don't know though, but it's like, no, because if I had got a phone call from my son's school and they told me, yes, your son punched another little boy because he was picking on a little girl or some type of mishap, and my kid was just like defending the little girl, I don't know what I would do. I would just be like, damn, did you have to punch him? Like, you know, I don't know, because it's just like, he was defending the girl. How can you be mad about that? But at the same time, okay, but then when he went and punched the kid on the baseball team, now that, yeah, you can't just go throwing your fist around, boo. Like, and there will be punishment, like there is punishments to your actions. In the book, when Suzette was talking to Millie and she was saying like, oh, your husband told me, yeah, what was all of that about? We even discussed that, because Suzette definitely said some crazy things to Millie that night. It was the night that she went over there after the crime scene, after all that stuff. She went over there peeking around trying to see if there really was a back entryway that nobody could see from. And she ran into Suzette, and Suzette was all like, yeah, your husband told me how he married you because you had got pregnant or something like that. That was crazy. Well, I kind of look, you want to find it. Oh, yes. Because Suzette was like, yeah, your husband definitely killed my husband because he was obsessed with me. Girl, what do you mean? You mean you were obsessed with her husband? Yeah. It said, because she said, do you think I asked him to come here every minute? He always had an excuse to be here, always flirting with me, and he was intensely jealous of Jonathan. After all, you saw the way he was all over me at the beach. You mean when the daughter wanted to drown you or tried to drown you? Do you think I wanted him to practically carry me back to the car? I couldn't get him from me. Yeah, he told me he wasn't happy. He said he felt trapped into getting married because you were pregnant. See, like, none of that makes sense. Why would Suzette randomly say that? What was that about? Never addressed it. Should have addressed that one, Millie. Because, girl, what? What are you talking about? But yeah, it was not what I expected at all. I did not expect for it to kind of pan out that way, honestly. I thought it was gonna be another situation where they was probably like saving another woman or something, or like, because it said the housemaid is watching, but the housemaid was only acting like that, and she was acting weird because she knew. Oh, it's like everything's coming back to me, y'all. When the housemaid said that the full circles is crazy. When the housemaid said that she was the maid to the parents of the boy that Millie killed in the first book when she was defending her friend, and that's how she knew who she was. So she was like, I need her help, but she always just froze up and could not actually tell the lady that, like, listen, I'm not being weird. Okay, but why was she going through her stuff? Because to me, when I read that, I was like, dang, is she been a spy for like Suzette or something? But when she was saying like, oh, I just needed her help, like I just needed her to help like get me out of the situation, that's why she was acting weird towards her. I guess like the housemaid is watching. It should have been the neighbor is watching. Because that neighbor that is it, I don't think they ever described like how the cul-de-sac was set up. They might have did. But that neighbor that could see perfectly on both houses and was just like taking pictures and told the police everything because she knew everything because she was watching always. Yeah, it should have been the neighbor is watching. What a good book though, overall. I wish we could have read if Millie was ever really going to tell her kids what she did, like, and how they would have reacted, because I feel like even though she felt like, oh, I can't tell my kids, they're going to think of me or look at me differently or something like that. It's just like, unfortunately, Millie, the things that you did and why you did it still happens or is still happening. Like, your daughter is getting harassed at school by boys of her same age. I feel as if she had told her kids, like, listen, this is my past, this is what I've done. But I guess they are still kind of young though. But I don't know, the son is 9, the daughter is 11. They're kind of getting up there, especially the daughter. Maybe not the son, but I feel like the daughter, she's getting up there in age and she's gonna have to defend herself against men, unfortunately. That she could have told her and it could have been like that would have been a great mother-daughter moment. Maybe she'll tell them when they're older. We will never know, because unfortunately the book land ends when the pages are done. Editing Dami here. Okay, so I did not mention in the book review that last sentence in the book where she says no one ever suspects the housemaid. That line right there, she's right, because what happened? Millie had been doing this whole time and no one ever suspected the housemaid. Is that not crazy? It's almost like we got to see an ongoing story for Millie. We got to see where she went with her life, but it also included the fact that Millie and Enzo have been saving women, and he ended up saving the housemaid, and the housemaid is the one that got rid of her boss that was abusive. Not even and then he wasn't even like the abusive kind to the wife. Like, he was a crazy person, like a creep. Like, I thought earlier, I was like, Millie's daughter, she took the first hit at the man, and she also was getting harassed at school. So it's almost like the same storyline is happening with Millie's daughter. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I think it's like Ada, because it's ADA. You know, her dad's Italian, so I don't know what that pronunciation is supposed to be. I'm thinking because Millie's daughter, she was getting harassed at school, and that just made me so sad, because it made me think like one day when I have kids, I'm not going to be there for everything that happens in their life, and this is what shaped them as humans. Oh my goodness, my babies that don't even exist, my babies. But when she was at school and she was getting, picked on by that little boy, and he would not leave her alone, then she was like, she threatened him. It was like, don't do that. Like, she's already kind of following the footsteps of her mom. And her mom is just like, oh, I don't know if I should. I'm like, girl, talk to your daughter. That's why these conversations are important to have with your kids. You talk to your daughters like, listen, you ain't got to be like completely explicit about what you did, but you need to have those conversations, because your daughter's getting up there in age where she's going to school. But what if the author makes a book about Millie's daughter? Like, her whole storyline, because I would read that. That would be crazy. I would read that. I would be so interested in reading that, because just reading Millie's story, and the book did such a good job at adding on and kind of closing out these characters, because like I said, we don't really get to see what happened. This is just a made up world, and once the pages close, like they close. So it was nice to kind of see the progression of Millie. I said this earlier in the video, like the progression of seeing her when she started out and then how she ended, and like her family and stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to add that a little bit in. This is me editing, don't mind. This is a pimple patch because I have a nasty pimple I'm trying to get rid of. And yeah, so y'all can continue watching the rest of the video. What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you expect what to happen? I've kind of been on a Frida McFadden, like I've kind of read all her books. Maybe I should read all her books and then rate them like against each other, like my favorites. Yeah, y'all, I just don't think nothing would top how I felt when I read The Housemaid. As much as these other books have been good. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. Like I said, make sure you let me know what you thought about this book down in the comments below. What should be my next read? I literally have nothing queued up. So leave some book suggestions. I'm looking for like a romance. I think I want my next book to be romantic, Black love. So leave some Black love authors down below, and I will see y'all in my next video. Oh, also, if you have confessions or story time that you would like advice on, or you just have a funny story time, there is a form linked. Everything I've always talked about is always linked down in the description, but there is a form linked below. It's the first link in all my videos where you can submit your stories and all those things anonymously, and I'll read them on my channel. And go do that, because I really do want to make that video, and I just need a couple people to get me started, so that would be great. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.